Okay, on to number 9. We're going to make the lines vertical. So I'm going to use the vertical tool right here. And where did it go? That's the hard thing. Sometimes these things just jump all over the place. So I'm going to go grab it and bring it back, if I can. Let me turn on these constraints, see if there's something else going on. I don't see any other constraints than that, so let me try grabbing the point. Just didn't let me drag the whole line. Maybe if I select the whole line this way, then I can move. No, didn't want to move vertically. So I have to drag the points. There you go. Now, undo. Another thing you can do with the vertical tool is you can pick 2 points that have to be vertical from each other. So instead of clicking the line segment, I could choose one endpoint and then say that point has to be vertical from the other endpoint. That's another way to do it. The triangle here, the next one, says make the triangle an equilateral triangle. There is an equal constraint. So if I have all equal sides, so these 2 sides have to be equal, and then let's say this side also has to be equal to this side, I get an equilateral triangle. So I can move and adjust and rotate, but this thing's always equilateral. The next one says make the circles equal in diameter. Now I could use the dimension tool to make them have equal diameters, but then they're stuck at a specific diameter. If I use the equal constraint again, they simply have to be equal. So as one changes, the other changes. They both get bigger or smaller together. The next one says make all 3 centers of these circles lie on the same horizontal line. Now I don't have to make a horizontal line, I just want to use the horizontal tool, and again show that we can use the horizontal and vertical tools with points instead of with lines. So these 2 points now have to fall horizontal to each other. And then I'll get this one with either of those 2, doesn't really matter. Now they all have to be horizontal from each other. This one says make one endpoint be coincident to the midpoint of the other line. All right, there is a special tool for that, and it is this one right here. And I haven't shown this yet, but if you pause and just patient, don't move your mouse and hover, you'll actually get some instructions. It'll expand eventually. So like here, this one says constrain a point to the midpoint of a line or arc. By how? Number 1, it says pre-select the sketch entities. So the sketch entities here would be a point that's going to fit on the midpoint of the other line. So it'd be a point and then a line that's going to have a midpoint. So that point will go and stick right to that midpoint. So let me choose that button and presto. Now let's hit Control Z to undo it and think about other ways that I could do this. I don't think this one's going to work, but if you grab a point and kind of start moving it around, oh, it actually does. With the regular point tool, if you're trying to make a point and so you've turned that on, and if you start hovering along a line, you'll find the midpoint. And for some reason, I thought I've done this before with like an existing line segment. It seemed like it should work, but I thought I had trouble getting it to locate. But there you go. When you get, you notice the midpoint icon shows up, see in black, and you get a little box. And it lets me know that that's going to be constrained at the midpoint. The last one says constrain one endpoint of the segment, okay, to the arc. So let's do that first. Using the coincident constraint, we're going to make the point be on the arc, like that. It says then make the segment normal to the arc, and that's this tool here. Now in the end, we're not going to have used every single one up here, but we've hit most of them. So again, you can sit and hover, but normal means it's going to be perpendicular at that point where they kind of intersect or touch. So I'm going to choose that tool, and I'm going to choose the line and the arc. All right, and then I'm going to turn the tool off by hitting escape. Now I'm going to drag this point so you can really see what happens. This arc actually continues to go and represents a full circle. So it looked like it left the arc when it really didn't. This point is following the same path that would complete the whole circle. But what I want you to notice is that the angle of the line segment changes as we move this because it's always staying perpendicular.